experts this morning. We are excited to introduce Caitlin Laney. She is with Trek Wealth Solutions. She is a certified financial planner, up early with us this morning, answering your questions before the market opens. Good morning, and thanks so much for being here.
Oh, good morning. Thank you for having me.
We know that you have been a CFP, as they call it, for 15 plus years. You're hearing from your clients. What do you think are the biggest concerns so far?
You know, I think the reality is we manage people's life savings, and this isn't just money. This is how people take care of what matters. You know, when people talk about, oh, my 401k is down, this is how we take care of medical bills, our family, our kids. And the reality is people have had to make hard decisions on their budget for the last 18 months. People have been choosing between, do I buy a gallon of gas or do I buy eggs today? And so, you know, what we're seeing if we wind things back is Americans are expecting the government to do the same. And we're in a $2 trillion budget deficit. And if things don't change, you know, Americans are going to have a much harder time in the long run. And so what we're seeing right now in terms of what's happening in Washington is a two-pronged approach. It's how do we reduce our spending and increase revenue? And, you know, the current administration has laid out a plan to do that.
Let's talk a little bit about the novice investor. A lot of people watching, they've got a 401k, right? But maybe they check it once a quarter, and now they're looking at it and they're going, oh my goodness, where did my money go? What is your advice to them? Because it is a little worrisome when you're not in the weeds every day and you look at it occasionally and you're like, I'm down 10%.
Absolutely. So most of our clients are retired, which means they rely on income from their portfolio. And the biggest risk to retirees is something we call sequence of return risk, which means if your portfolio is down 20% and you need 5% to live on, you're now down 25%. Theoretically on paper, you need 50% to get back to even. That's a lot. And so what we do is we insulate clients, we insure their retirement plan to make sure that any money they need in the next 1 to 2 years is in cash. So we've already protected our clients from that. And so that would be a conversation I would encourage folks listening to have with their financial advisor, is to have a goals-based planning approach to make sure their portfolio is insulated to weather any of these types of markets.
If there's somebody watching this morning, maybe they're on the verge of retirement in the next 1 year, 2 years, should they push that off?
You know, there's a lot of uncertainty right now, and economic policy around tariffs is largely uncertain. The chief at the helm right now is Scott Bassett. He taught economics at Yale. He is the current secretary treasurer, so there's no bigger and brighter mind at the helm of this. And even he says, you know, it's largely uncertain what's going to happen, but we're confident that the economic outlook is going to be positive in the long run. But yes, if you're looking at retiring in the next 30 to 45 days, if you don't have a sound plan to protect your money, you might want to sit down with a professional like me, like someone who advises people on how to create and generate cash flow in all types of markets.
And if you're just getting started and you're forced to make some tough choices, is cutting your contribution to your 401k a good choice?
You know, it's tough because we all make tough choices. You know, I'm a mom. I spent $14,000 in daycare last year. I mean, that's an obscene amount of money. So I get it. We're all real people. But if you're 10 years away from retirement, buy the dip. If you can increase your 401k contributions by 1 or 2%, those compounded returns in the long run will make a huge difference for you and your family later.
And finally, I know they talk about diversifying your portfolio. And for novice investors, you're like, wait, what does that mean? Yeah. What do you think people should do when you talk about diversification?
So we have a goals-based approach, which we bucket your money in things that have never lost money in the time that you'll need it. So if you need,
so what are we talking about?
Yeah, so if you need money in the next 12 months, we have that money invested in CDs, in cash. You're not going to lose that money because you're going to need it. If you don't need the money for 10 years, we can afford a little volatility right now. And economically, we're still very positive on the growth of our economy. It just might take a little bit longer. And so that's where we need to tie the goals of your portfolio and diversify the strategy in buckets and investments that are tied to your time horizon.
Okay, Caitlin Laney, a lot to digest at 5:30 this morning, but we appreciate you getting up early. Mom of two, had 2 toddlers up overnight and still managed to come in and give us her perspective. Colton, we'll send it over to you.
That's what parents do.